In this video, I'm going to show you one patching idea to make more interesting waveforms and sounds using the Mother-32. Before I get started, I just want to give a quick thank you to all the people who've subscribed to the channel so far. I started this channel about a month and a half ago, and I'm kind of blown away by the amount of support I've been getting. When I first started posting, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I've gotten thousands of views and tons of people who have sent me really positive comments and also some critical feedback, and I appreciate all of those. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so below. I've got a lot of content planned for the next couple months. I'm going to show some more patching ideas for the matriarch and the DFAM, and some more ideas for the Mother-32. I'm also going to bring in the subharmonicon, as well as some sound reviews and other demos from some different non-Moog equipment. I've also got a few videos planned that aren't on hardware, but more focused on software, because that's really where my background is, working in the box with VSTs, sound designing, composing, and making music for film, video, podcasts, etc. So I kind of want to show a little bit of that. But one thing I'm really excited about is I'm going to bring in some modular gear to see how we can expand on this and get more into the modular world. So if you want to see that content, please subscribe below. So that's actually kind of a nice segue into why I'm doing this video today. Most of the music that I've done with synths is in the box. It's on the computer, it's in software, and I was more focused on composing rather than sound design, because when you're working in VSTs, it's very easy to use either presets or sounds that you can just dial in sounds really easy. When you're working with hardware, it's kind of, although the sound I believe is much more rich, it can present some difficulties in really getting the sound that you specifically want. With that said, there are tons of happy accidents, and sometimes you get sounds that you weren't really going in to expect, and you're happy with them, and that's great. When I first got the Mother-32, I was very pleased with the overall richness of the sound, but I also found it super limiting because of the VCO wave. You could either choose between saw and pulse wave. And while that was cool for a little while, I kind of felt like, it wasn't that interesting to me. So I naturally gravitated towards things like the DFAM, which is totally amazing, and the matriarch, which is totally amazing. And that's where, if you look back in my videos, most of my patch ideas and things are coming from those two things because they've really captivated me. But recently I decided to look back at the Mother-32 because it has such a great reputation, and I was thinking there's got to be something that I'm missing. And so I delved in to try to make more interesting waveforms using the patch bay. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now, is how you can break away from just using saw and pulse and get into some more complex waveforms and mix them together. So let's start by, this is basically as boring a patch as you can get. It's just a simple sawtooth. There's no modulation. The cutoff filter's all the way up. No resonance, nothing. So, and here's the pulse wave. So what I want to do is mix those together a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the mix knob right here. Because as you can see, it says noise/ext. And that connects to the external audio. So what I'm going to do is take a patch cable. I'm going to use some longer ones just because they're different colors. And that way, once this turns into a giant mess, you can still see where everything's connected. We're going to leave it on sawtooth. And I'm going to take the VCO pulse wave and replace the noise with it. So now it's going into the external audio. So when you turn this up, if it was unplugged, it would look like this. And so as you introduce more noise, but now by doing this, you're not going to get any noise. It's going to turn into a pulse wave. So that's pretty cool. So right there, I was kind of like, wow, this opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Because then you can modulate the pulse width. create some interesting effects. So it just makes everything so much more interesting. But we can push that even further in that when I did this, I was like, oh, but that's a bummer because then we lose our noise. What we're going to do is we're going to take this out. We're going to mix it. So I'm going to plug the pulse wave into the mix 1. I'm going to plug the noise into mix 2. And then I'm going to take the mix out, the VC mix out right here, and put that into the external audio. Now let's see what that does. So as I turn up this VC mix, it's basically going to go from the pulse wave to the noise wave. So now you have a cooler mix. But another thing you can do too is now we can start to think about modulating those. And so I already have the triangle LFO going to the VCO mod amount, which is does the pulse, how much the pulse width goes. So you could use that if you wanted to, but I'm going to use the square LFO and plug it into the VC mix control, which is this one. So now what we're going to have is an LFO going at this rate, but jumping between waves and basically jumping this up and jumping it down between noise and pulse wave. And you can change the amount. Or you can, let's try something a little bit more gradual and have it be the triangle wave. See, it's pretty cool, but we can also modulate the mix amount. So let's take the LFO square wave and go up to the mix CV and see how that sounds. And if you plug it into like a sequence, listen. You can almost get like sort of rhythmic, because noise, sounds like drums. Noise can sound like drums, so if you have it, here, let's switch these. Let's go, if we have the noise going on a pulse wave, it might sound a little bit more rhythmic. And then if we start introducing the cutoff, let's hear what this sequence sounds like with a little bit of reverb and delay. Oh, it sounds so cool. So there's a lot of things for you to play around with, and I strongly encourage you to do it. Like, for instance, this is set to the saw wave with the pulse wave going into all the modulation. You could also reverse that and turn this up to the pulse wave and put this here. Let's see if we can do that quickly. And I'm going to put it into the saw wave now. Let's see what happens there. So there's just so many options to this. But it really creates just a much more vibrant waveform for you to use on your tracks. So I hope you like this video. Again, if you like this type of content, you want to see me making more, please leave some comments. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me if you like this video. Tell me if there's something I missed. And I would appreciate all of that, and make sure to subscribe. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.